Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're live from New York City watching the Final Four battle it out in WCS America, Hero versus Ryung. This is semifinal number 1, a best of 5. The winner advances on to the final and guarantees themselves at least $12,000 and 1,000 WCS points. This is game number 2 on Cloud Kingdom, where Ryung has a little bit of work to do here.
That's right, he's down 0-1, and what a beautifully crafted build by Hero in that first game. You know, Ryung was never able to identify the fact that Hero only had a single forge, and I think when he saw, he saw the Colossi tech, and he saw the attempt at a third base by Hero on that right side. Yeah. He didn't realize that Hero really was committing a lot to a big pressure push, and it's really caught him off guard. Only a single bunker and not enough Vikings.
And it's pretty cool because it's not like Hero necessarily has to commit to it, I feel like, because worst case scenario, he just chills outside of its opponent's natural expansion, denies the third base while getting a third up on his own. So really cool build there from Hero. I'm interested to see how Ryung reacts. But here we are in game number 2. In the bottom left-hand location, I present your Red Protoss players showing dominating play in game number 1, and representing Team Liquid, hailing from Korea, he is Hero. Of course, his opponent in the top right-hand location of Cloud Kingdom. I present your blue Terran player, representing Team Axiom. He is Ryung.
We'll see how Ryung adjusts his play. He was very focused towards the late game in that first map. Hero played a fairly macro-centric game, but did cut a couple corners as far as upgrades are concerned to really put together that big Blink Stalker Colossi pressure there, and Ryung just wasn't quite ready for it. Ryung's a player who almost always plays for the late game, so we'll see if he's going to mix things up a bit. We can actually see already getting the gas.
Yeah, it might be one of those things where he's like, you know what? Ryung's like, you know what, Hero, you're gonna do that? All right, I see how it is. I'm gonna mix things up too. I'm not gonna play predictable. Now, I imagine this is gonna be for a Reaper. I didn't see the exact timing. Let's see.
And yeah, it's almost for sure gonna be a Reaper opening, and that's a great reaction to saying, you know what, that first game, I wasn't able to identify his exact build, exact amount of infrastructure he had set up, and you know what would help me do that? Of course, a Reaper. Whirlwind, obviously, the last map, not so great for the Reaper. There's not many angles to jump up on. But on Cloud Kingdom, Reapers can be so useful.
And for those of you... Oh, SCV needs to be careful.
Oh, he's got buddies.
His buddy's going to repair him. Now, for those of you maybe not as familiar with StarCraft 2, the Reaper is a very important unit in the early game for Terran players. It really lets them get scouting information from their opponent. If we remember from the last game, Ryung had literally no vision of Hero pretty much throughout that game. Again, he didn't have any source... Oh, look at that little pylon going down.
That is nifty.
Hero trying to be annoying. But yeah, the Reaper, a very fast unit. It can jump up and down cliffs, and it can regen its health if it takes any damage.
You know what's really interesting about that pylon going down? This is something that we saw in Brood War, but the reason you don't see these pylons that block minerals in StarCraft 2 is because SCVs are always going to be in the way. Like there's the odds of your opponent not having an SCV in that location is almost astronomically low because you start out with more workers in SC2 than you did in Brood War. So what's kind of interesting is that it worked because he was so good at harassing the SCV with the probe that Ryung pulled a couple SCVs off to try to repair, and that gave him that opening to put that pylon down. Hero
is so good. He thinks of this stuff. And it's a nice little annoying thing you can do in the beginning of the game. Of course, Ryung going across the map here, scouting out his opponent's natural expansion, and Mothership Core going to poke at him a little bit. But again, the Reaper's not going to be scared of that Mothership Core. But once that Stalker gets out, that's when you have to be really cautious of where you're positioning that Reaper, because you could easily get trapped inside your opponent's main base, and you do not want to lose that Reaper early on.
We see Ryung also following this up with a factory, so we could see potential Widowmine drops, or just taking up to some more higher tech units very fast. Reaper gets away.
One more shot, he's dead.
And the cool thing about a Reaper is we can see it's going to start regenerating here in just a second there. Now coming from 6 life to 15. It'll soon be fully healed and can go back in for another scouting run.
Of course, you know, once we approach the 7-8 minute mark of the game, it's going to start becoming pretty impossible to scout out your opponent. But Cloud Kingdom, it's a base where, it's a map where, you know, the main and the natural, the main base is a lot of space where the Reaper can potentially jump in. So we'll look out for that. Mothership Core, getting a little bit greedy across the map, going to have to recall back to the Nexus. Marines starting to peck that guy. Of course, there's Twilight Council here in the main base of Hero.
See if the Reaper can accomplish his mission of scouting out what the Protoss is doing. This is a build that if you get Twilight Council this fast in a robo, you can easily turn this into a DT drop opening.
Yes.
And there's one thing if DTs are coming in from a one direction with Terran base, they can wall off, they can use one scan to clear their front. But if there's DTs in your main and in your natural at the same time, it's very difficult as a Terran player to hold that off.
Now, it's interesting because the Militia Corps overextended a little bit, so we had to recall back as Blinks get started. But that means that Hero is not necessarily going to have Photon Overcharge available for his natural expansion Nexus. So can Ryung get anything done here? He has a Widow Mine, he has 6 Marines, and while Photon Overcharge would be available before... Oh no, the Militia Corps!
Oh no,
my
it's going
God.
down. There's no Observer either, which means this Widow Mine, at least for the time being, has total control. And he can just focus down his Nexus with the Marines. The Widow Mine can protect the Marines from a Stalker picking at them. What's going to take the Widow Mine hit?
Stalker coming down. Stalker is presumably, yes, one Stalker going down, a Probe going down as well, and these Marines are going to be fine dealing with the Stalkers unless Hero can micro perfectly, trying to shoo him back up that ramp, but that Widow Mine's going to continue being annoying. An Observer coming out here for Hero, going to try to spot this, but definitely not the start Hero was looking for.
No. If you're doing something like investing in early Blink, you're forgoing taking a Templar or Colossi. As a Protoss player, you really want to get some damage done, and starting like this is really going to set this push back a bit.
Of course, losing a lot of mining time there at the natural expansion income tab is 33 to 32, so a little bit of a favor here for Ryung, and remember, he has double mules that he's able to use. Now, was Ryung able to identify the Twilight Council?
He was.
Yes, he was, so he should know exactly what's going on.
Throughout that little pressure at the front, Reaper was able to sneak in the back, and he saw everything that's going on. So now Ryung knows exactly how to play. We can see getting that bunker so the Stalkers at the front can't do too much damage, and working on Stim Pack. Stalkers with Blink can really pick apart a Bio Army if it doesn't have Stim Pack and Medevac support. That's why we see Ryung getting the bunker, so in the short term he can use that bunker to absorb any damage. But as the game goes forward, as he gets his Medevac and his Stim Pack out, all of a sudden Blink Stalkers become much less of a threat.
Now, something that might be working in favor of Hero here is that Ryung might be playing a little bit defensively after seeing that Twilight Council play. So Hero doesn't necessarily have to worry as much, if he can identify this, about Ryung coming across the map at this exact moment in time. Remember, a situation where he lost his Mothership Core. He doesn't necessarily have that energy for Photon Overcharge, or as much as he could have. So, you know, Hero might be able to play a little bit greedier, knowing his opponent's going to be a little bit defensive here.
Reaper again going into the main to scout. One Stalker is there, but the Reaper wants to see how many... Oh, building double forge. You know what?
Oh.
That's kind of interesting, because it's obviously not going to fake Ryung into thinking his opponent's going to upgrade focus, because this is pretty late for double forge. But it may make him think, okay, my opponents can't have too much on my side of the map. But really, there's a decent squadron of Stalkers, and the Bio's in the wrong position. They're going to blink it to the main.
Widow Mine taking out one of the Stalkers, going to start going toward that middle line, but 2 Marauders and 2 Marines coming from the right-hand side. 1 Marauder still on the low ground. He's going to get taken out. Some SCVs going to be pulled here for Ryung. He's trying to set up a flank here. Marines and Marauders coming out. Blink cooldown is done, but Hero should be able to get out of there again. Stim is not yet done for these Marines and Marauders.
Man, imagine if only Ryung was a little bit more confident. He could hold the ones in his main with his rally reinforcements. He could have had that trap a little bit more set up, killed all those Stalkers. Going forward, though, he's still going to be a great advantage. I mean, he has Stim Pack done, he has Medevacs on the way, 3rd Commander is on the way. Hero doesn't have anything that can really deal with a large Stim Bio Medevac supported Terran army.
Hero, actually, both these guys kind of skirting around each other. Hero coming on the right-hand side, the Marine Marauder Force from Ryung coming on the left-hand side, and Hero does not have control of this watchtower. So I don't think he necessarily knows that this army is in this location. He has to be very careful, doesn't want to be caught off guard at his natural.
He has to know there's some armies somewhere, only seeing a few Marauders on the right side. He's going to try to jump and take them out when he has a numerical advantage.
I don't know about this trade. Okay, gets 1 Stalker out. He already lost 1 Stalker, though, and that existing Stalker down to 5 HP. He's going to continue going across the map here, I guess trying to cut off reinforcements.
Oh, Ryung very intelligent. He pulls the Medevacs back from the rally point. Checking on the 3rd base of Hero. Scans to say, can this small force go in there? Realizes Photon Overcharge would deflect it.
Taking down the turret, nice little victory there. Going to force your opponent to remake that, which is always fun, to make your opponent do something that they don't necessarily want to do. And again, behind this Hero with the 1-1 upgrades underway. Got Thermal Lance, Colossus on the way as well. Marines and Marauders trying to pick off those Stalkers, but need to blink on down that ramp.
Oh, Blink cooldown is not quite ready yet. The Hero being so cost efficient, only losing... Oh, just as I said, he lost 1 Stalker there, but he's trying to pick units off, trade Stalker shields for units life, and use Blink to get away. He's also trying to get up to Colossi tech. He has 1 Colossus out now. That's instrumental. If Ryung pushes with the Marines and the Medevacs, the Colossus plus Force Fields plus Photon Overcharge is what's going to allow Hero to stay alive.
Remember, the 3rd orbital is done here from Ryung, so at any moment in time, and I'm a little bit surprised he hasn't yet, he can move that 3rd over to that 3rd location. That's exactly what he's going to do right now, and again, this is a great move. And Hero putting down a Nexus, but we're in a pretty dangerous situation where he doesn't really have necessarily the number of Colossus that he wants, and Thermal Lance isn't done done yet. So this could be a situation where Ryung can try to be aggressive toward that third base and then potentially go for drops in the natural in the main, which is something that's actually really good on Cloud Kingdom.
It is Ryung being very careful about making sure there's no pylons in the top left section of the map. Of course, one thing Protoss like to do on Cloud Kingdom is they put those pylons in the top left section, and then it can run Zealots into the Terran's third and do some great harassment if Terran's not at home defending. Hero, he's caught in the middle of the map.
Oh, Ryung getting right in between Hero's main forces. There's 2 Colossus there, though, which should be enough. But look at all these units here from Ryung and greatly spread out. And now Hero is kind of the one that has a little bit of a concave. 1 Colossus getting taken out, targeted down there by Ryung, but Ryung has way too much stuff. He's up 125 to 80 in supply. And Hero, I don't necessarily know if I agree with this decision to move out there, especially when his third is getting down. What's to stop Ryung from counterattacking and potentially denying that?
Hero just caught so unprepared there. He really thought Ryung was back at home defending, and so as he moved his army across the map, it was all spread out in a giant line. Now Ryung says, you know what, I just took a big win. There's no way you can defend that third base.
There's absolutely no way. That Nexus is going to be killed unless Hero can come up with a heroic defense. We got some Colossus coming forward, and Photon Overcharge being placed down, but the Nexus is definitely going to be toast. Chargelot's coming forward, but he's just going to pick up, go straight into the main. This is exactly the right decision here for Ryung.
Oh no, the Templar Archives is vulnerable. The Zealots can't get back to the main. Another Photon Overcharge goes down on the main, but there's enough bio here. They can kind of ignore that for now.
Oh, Ryung has complete control here. Sees a Colossus saying, you know what, you're going to die too. He's going to pick up, jet out of there with those Ignite Afterburners, and Hero down to 102 supply. Units lost. I'm a little bit afraid to look at it. 59-25 to 34-50 in favor of Ryung. And again, more importantly, Ryung has that third base. He has a superior economy. Hero gonna try to remake that, and remember, he lost that High Templar Archives, which is pretty huge because if you're trying to come back in a PvT, you really need those high-tech units, right? You need those High Templar, you need those Colossus to try to make a comeback happen. So I don't know what Hero's options are really.
Very limited at this point, of course. Psystorm, always a great way to make a comeback without the Templar Archives. No Psystorm is available. Ryung is now 2-2. Hero a little bit behind in upgrades. His 2-2 is about 3/4 of the way done. Ryung also adding the Ghost Academy and a second starport, making sure that now he has a 3-base economy. He can produce units necessary to deal with Hero specialist units.
This is something you can try to do, Zealot counterattacks, but Ryung looks like he is well prepared for that. 2 Marauders. A couple SCVs going to be lost here, but not the biggest of deals, especially considering the state of this game. The Nexus at the third, trying to get finished up here from Hero. But Ryung might try to make something happen. This might be a moment where you just try to pull every SCV and go for it, but Ryung playing very safe at this point in time, sending the Vikings forward. Lots of Marines and Marauders on the ground. Hero going to back up for now, and the Nexus is going to be canceled once again.
It looked like Ryung was thinking about putting... Oh, looks like he's going to keep pushing forward here. Time Warp forces him back a little bit.
I'm okay with Ryung being patient here. As long as he can just keep denying this third, you know, I don't necessarily see a reason for him to try to bust into the natural expansion.
Ryung wants to take a 4th base right now. And he's found the best spot to take this 4th base.
That is a... Oh my god!
Is he going to do it?
Yes!
He's going to do it.
He's going to do it.
He was thinking about
waiting for the money. Come on, Ryung. You know you want to. Oh. Oh.
No? Oh. I guess he wants to put it... Oh! He's going to put it right outside his opponent's natural.
Though. It's like...
It's on the mission. We can see the wireframe.
There it is.
There we go.
The question is, will Hero see it? Ryung wants Hero to see it, and Hero does see it. The command center being made outside his opponent's natural expansion. Ryung so confident here, and he should be up 173 to 109 supply. Hero desperately trying to hold, but so many Marines and Marauders in this composition. Ryung splitting off some Marauders to target down those Colossi.
I think Hero
only
holds.
Stalkers remain, but look at this. Hero, some nice force fields, able to shove this back a little bit. Hang on.
Ryung may have put the Manor Command Center down a couple minutes too early. Not even a cancel. Oh, he's going to cancel. Let that one die. What Hero did was amazing. He picked off the Vikings so fast that his Colossi were really able to do a lot of damage, combined with Warping and some extra Zealots. He was able to defend attack, but he's still only on 2 bases. In fact, only his natural still has a mineral line, so Ryung able to significantly outproduce Hero. Hero may be able to delay this 4th base, although Ryung has a lot of units on the way.
Can't overextend here. Yeah, gotta back up. I mean, all right, he's gonna try to engage. Again, blinking for those Stalkers, taking down the Colossus as fast as possible. It's instrumental in this comeback so far if it's gonna happen here from Hero, but so many more Marines and Marauders coming forward. Hero losing that last Colossus, all the Stalkers falling, and a Mule going down. There's the GG from Hero. Ryung taking game number 2, and both these guys building bases in their opponent's bases.
That's what it's down to, man. That's you know, it's a best of 5. You can get inside your opponent's head. It always works. And Ryung saying, you know what, you do not get in my head. I'm gonna turn it right back around onto you. And man, what a really well played game by Ryung. That early push was so instrumental without the photon overcharge, because the Militia Core would sniped
exactly
near the middle.
Well, it had to recall back. It didn't have any energy. And then it was sniped, of course.
But yeah, so there was no energy for photon overcharge, and he basically had to give up the natural for a bit, which really hurt his economy a little bit. And then combined with the fact that his Blink Stalkers, he was able to pick off a couple Marines and Marauders here or there, but he wasn't able to do significant damage. And because he went for the Blink Stalkers first, he was delaying his Colossi, he was delaying his upgrades, and he wasn't able to get the return that a Protoss wants to get when you get those Blink Stalkers so early.
And again, the only real way you can kind of come back, and the pinnacle example in my mind is MC versus Alive, as crazy as it sounds, from the Winter Season Showdowns. I know, it's funny I use that example, but MC was able to make a ridiculous comeback. It was 2 bases to like 4. MC had the 2 bases, but he had Templars on the ground. And again, we saw this with Crank, I think. It was the round of 16. I mean, it might have been
first SEC.
Against the SEC. Yeah, exactly. Where he's able to make these comebacks. So the High Templar Archives got sniped in that game, right when that third got sniped. And again, that's another instrumental thing that can happen here. Was desperately trying to get Storm back onto the field. But we got a series on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. We're currently tied 1-1. This is anyone's match. Again, you're watching the first semifinal of WCS America. The winner of Ryung versus Hero will advance to the finals of this tournament. Stay tuned.